Greetings, greetings, and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You. This is your host, Coach Charlene, and I am so delighted to be here. And I have a friend. I have Jordia with me today. And so she is going to help me to relaunch my podcast. Not that it went anywhere. I just took a little bit of time to establish my other platform, which is the Whispers of Wellness that coincides with my business. So, Jordia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Charlene, for having me. You speak my language, and I was so blessed that when you offered the opportunity to be on your show. For those who don't know me, which probably you don't, I am Jordia Batchelor. I'm a nurse practitioner by trade. Been in the nursing industry for over 18 years. I am also a nurse resilience coach who teach new grad nurses to help, navigate stress and anxiety in their current working environment, which we know can be stressful, especially the transition from student into a professional role. That phase is often really tricky, and a lot of times we lose nurses within that first 2 years. So my hope is to really work with nurses, help build their resilience and confidence, and improve their overall well-being.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love what you're talking about, and we're going to totally unpack some of that. So, just to set a little context before we go in, the reason why I started When the Moment Chooses You was I actually started it back in 2022 because of the issues that we were having in 2020 with the unfortunate murder of George Floyd and all the other things that were happening at that time. We were experiencing a pandemic that was really getting the best of us. We were exhausted, no resources and all of that. And so I just felt like a little helpless. And so I went into prayer because I'm a woman of faith. And I heard these words: what you do in this moment will determine your destiny and dictate your future. And so after I heard that, it was almost like I had an opportunity to wipe my tears and to move from frustration into action and impact. And that's when I was like, okay, I need something else to help me. And I found my voice and I began to share my story. So I believe that there's moments that call us to transform ourselves, our systems, or to disrupt some things that we don't like. And so that was the call. That's why I found my voice. And now I love interviewing trailblazers and change agents that dare to dream, that dare to disrupt themselves and actually start following their dream. And so that's kind of the context behind When the Moment Chooses You. So, Jordia, before we get into going into your moment, tell me a little bit about what you did before you went into as a resilience coach and what you're doing now.
So I was working, well, I've been in school almost forever. It feels like it, right? But I was working during during the pandemic, actually, I had two babies during school by God's grace. I'm also a woman of faith, so I'll be making reference to that as well because I cannot separate the two.
Yes.
But working as a float nurse at my area hospital while I was in school, and the pandemic came. I was 6 months pregnant. The
Wow.
stress of being in NP school, trying to find clinicals. And then once that passed through, then the doctoral part came with my research papers. So resilience is a personal thing to me. I'm
Yes.
just going through the stress of being pregnant, the pandemic, and clinical instructors, my doctoral project, finding a topic that had to be revisited so many times, having to repeat classes, moments where I felt like this is too much. I cannot. I'm glad that you mentioned a defining moment during the pandemic because I had
Yeah.
mine as well during the pandemic. So yeah, working as a regular nurse on the floor while pregnant, while in school, still working full-time hours and clinicals and having to go through doctorate, my doctoral study. Yeah, that was me for during the past few years until I came to this moment. So it's been a journey and I'm just thankful to God that I'm here now.
Well, good. Well, I am glad you survived that. That is really a lot of different things all at one time. In addition to the fact that, we were isolated and there were so many things that we could and could not do. So 6 months pregnant and actually doing all of that is pretty amazing. And you're still smiling. So you
So
got something hey, look, something. You have some wisdom under your belt. So let's start to unpack that. But let's talk about some searing moments. You already mentioned one, but could you share with us just perhaps one moment that really changed the trajectory of your mindset, your thought process? Can you share that with us? Because I want people to start paying attention to those moments that really are the whisper of your heart, something that's nagging at you that you want to do. So could you share a moment like that with us?
Sure. Again, during the pandemic, and everything really started during my doctoral studies, to be honest. So this is where my moment started. I had to come up with a doctoral project, and during the pandemic, being on the front line personally, and also seeing my colleagues being stressed out, just anxious all the time, fearful of the unknown.
Yeah.
It was an opportunity to create something where staff were able to know that they were valued, they were being thought of. So during that time, blessedly, by divine alignment, I think God sent a mentor, and he was actually the person that helped, which we actually worked together because I helped him out and he helped me out. But we created Oasis Rooms for nurses during the pandemic, and these were rooms where nurses were able to go to decompress, reflect, and renew. They had like massage chairs in there. I helped design it, gratitude boards, affirmation cards, water fountains, what's you call the thing, the that gives you the scent in the room.
Aromatherapy.
Yes,
Yes.
aromatherapy, plant, just the atmosphere. So we set the atmosphere where they had a space to escape to during their shifts. And personally, that was something that was a help to me working on the floor. Apart from doing the clinical, I mean, the academic part, it also helped me because it was at my hospital. And that's where I created this resilience building tool. That time I called it the RAP tool, but it was the beginning of my RAP framework, which means to reset, to affirm, and to pursue, especially in stressful moments. And that's where everything just came together and aligned, creating that space for nurses and myself that I could go to. We created multiple of them during in the hospital setting in different rooms, I mean, different spaces, different units. And I was just grateful to be able to be in that space and to be able to make an impact in that
Yep.
way.
Well, that's so beautiful. So, my question to you, so were you on the front lines, like one of the frontline workers, or were you in leadership?
I was on the front lines on the floor as
Wow,
well.
that's pretty amazing. So, your leaders obviously gave you space to do that, right?
Because he was my mentor at the time. So I'm working at the hospital, right? At which I did my project at, and my mentor was a stakeholder.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Because I know I've heard other things where people are not allowed to do certain things because there was so much going on. But for you guys to see that the care team was struggling and to do something about it in the moment is pretty amazing. And so it reminded me similar to my story, like way back when I got burned out around 2010 or so. They brought in Dr. Gene Watson's theory of caring, and so that really helped transform our units into those meditation rooms and, the different quiet spaces that they had. So that's beautiful. So let me do this before we start jumping into what you actually do. There's a nurse out there, and it's April, what, 12th, 2025. And it may not even be a nurse, it may be any type of healthcare worker or service industry provider. They're still struggling, they're still challenged. They're still carrying the weight from the triple pandemic, I call it, because in addition to those two things I named before, we had our own personal pandemics of loss, of just isolation and all of that. So if there's someone struggling today, what would you say to that person? What can they do if they're sitting here, they're listening to the podcast, and they're really at the end of their rope? What could you do to encourage them in this moment?
I will say take a breath, pause. There's so much power in pausing and resetting, which is, again, I have to speak to my framework because it was personal to me. There was so much going on in and around myself that I had moments where I had to say, okay, let me just pause for a second. And pause and resetting means different things. It means self care. It means really reflecting, taking the time for yourself, but it's really focusing on yourself, your thoughts. What are the thoughts that are going through your mind? And if they're negative, Try to shift them, acknowledge them, but do not accept them. And shift those negative thoughts into positive affirmations. Affirm yourself. You are great. There's greatness that lies within you, regardless of what you feel, what you're seeing, or what you even think. And I strongly believe that, sometimes you get so lost in everything that's just bubbling us up around us, and we forget, we lose ourselves, we lose our why. So finding your why, finding that thing that anchors you and that brings you the most joy, and pursuing it. So that would be my encouragement.
That's absolutely awesome. And I love the pause part because it's so difficult for
Hmm.
us to pause. For some reason, we have in our mind, and I'm saying that because that's how I was. It was like, okay, I got to get this done. I got to keep moving, almost as if my value was in my busyness.
Hmm.
And so, post retirement, post pausing, is when I recognized that, oh my gosh, Charlene, guess what? You're like doing all of the things and you're exhausted,
Hmm.
but you won't stop for some reason. And so there had to be like a mind shift,
Hmm.
just shifting it and saying, you know what? You are enough just for who you are.
Yes.
Even if you're exhausted, even if you're feeling like you just can't move on, yes, you can. There's something so wonderful. And I love how you said that you have greatness
Yeah.
on the inside just waiting to be manifested. So wonderful. So, okay, so you're cruising along and you're doing your thing. You finished your DNP. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so now tell me what you are up to now, doctor.
Yeah, so right now, practicing as a nurse practitioner, which was in itself another transition, not being a nurse, but being in a provider role, that was a, challenge in itself. But I've been there before. So I had the tools in my toolkit to help me push through. But just forward in the RAP framework, I believe, again, going to my faith, it was a Holy Spirit download. It was a solution in the moment. And I know it was a solution then academically and also clinically, but also I felt a pulling and a tugging. And I love that you use those terms. That the Holy Spirit, he gave me visions of it going further and just stepping out in faith to start a business with that as my framework, the RAP framework. Reset, Affirm, Pursue. So recently started a business, a coaching and consulting business where my focus is on new grad nurses. I mean, nurses in general, but especially the new grad nurses, so we can keep them in the industry, because that first 2 years is so stressful, and just trying to mentor them, giving them the tools to be more resilient and confident, and just to increase their overall well-being. So that's where I am now, trying to get into that entrepreneurial space, and just trying to really impact nurses globally.
Well, I definitely know that there's a need. So I went back in January and I started teaching at my alma mater. So I'm really good at getting people to lean in to conversations. I
Mm-hmm.
really, especially difficult ones. And so we were talking about different things in the class, and all of a sudden, I forget what question I asked. I asked what was their experience so far in their clinical, and it got so quiet. And I was like, so what's going on there, you guys? And I was so disheartened because they start sharing how they feel like they're not wanted in the clinical space and how they're scared to ask questions because they don't want to get fussed at, or how it feels when they come in and nobody's there to really be their preceptor because something happened with the scheduling. And then they'll ask, well, who wants a student today? And everybody's like, no, I don't. It was so disheartening because I was like, oh my God, they're wounded already and they haven't even started. Now they're fresh, they're excited, they're passionate to get into this space called nursing, the most trusted profession. And then we got some of our colleagues, unfortunately, probably in that space of burnout, in that place of frustration where they can't really give from their empty cups. So I'm so glad that you're doing that for the new grads. I definitely see the need now that I went back into academia. It is so prevalent, and it is not just my class because when I sub, I pull it out because I want to know, like, is this really happening all over? Is this just the one and done? But it's really unfortunate. And I've been just really trying to encourage them to start right there where they are with their resilience journey, right? Because they're not taking care of themselves.
No.
Period. So we have a lot of work to do. So I'm so
Yeah.
excited about the work that you're doing. Okay, tell us a little bit more about what you do or what you.
So for now, coaching and consulting services, one-on-one coaching for those nurses or individuals that need that step-by-step type of mentor and support, or group coaching, because there's a lot of power that comes with community and having similarities and knowing that you're not alone, you're not isolated. So group coaching as well. And also just consulting with institutions, organizations that need different resources to come in to help their staff, their new excited staff that are literally on the brink of burnout already,
Yeah,
to build up their confidence and give them just practical tools that they can use while they're at work and even beyond the working time as well, just to improve overall well-being, because with that, it will increase other things in their lives and for the organizations as well. And the main thing is to help nurses remain in the nursing industry and not leave after
yeah,
6 months.
yeah, exactly. Well, I'm wondering if you have an organization that wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
I'll, email or, LinkedIn. I'm all on LinkedIn trying to be more consistent there. So you can find me, Jordia Batchelor, and also resilient nurse coach at gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll be open and happy to, really help anyone on their journey to become the best version of themselves.
That's wonderful. And do you have anything for new grads that you want to share?
Yes, stay the course. You are in the right place. Even though the thoughts, the imposter syndrome may creep in, the doubt may creep in that you're not enough, that you made a mistake, that this industry is not for you, that is a lie. You are enough. You are capable. Again, greatness lies within you. And I just really want to encourage anyone that's on the brink of burnout and the brinks of giving up. Just stay the course. Take time to reflect and renew yourselves. And self care is important, but do not give up. Push through. Yes.
And then, Jordia, you said that you had a mentor. So,
Mhm.
any information you can give to anybody out there that's looking for a mentor, because sometimes that's not really there and available. So, any ideas or advice you can give someone about seeking out a mentor?
Yes, it is extremely imperative. And just, I know you had mentioned you went back into that space recently. I recently spoke to some nurse managers because I have good rapport with them at my current organization. It's the same thing. Same thing that they're saying. So, and support, not having the support after orientation ends has been the main problem. So, I recommend that you find a trusted nurse that is experienced or a leader in an organization that you trust to help you walk through this time, because with support, it will help you keep grounded. In moments where you're stressed and anxious and you just want to throw in the towel, as they say it, having that person that you can call on, reach out to, I will say do that. So, first of all, find someone that you trust that can help hold your hands in moments of frustration and anxiety and stress, and also that can help carry you along your nursing journey. It's very important to have someone that you can go to help support you. So, mentorship is extremely important. I definitely recommend that you do so.
Okay, that's wonderful. And so, my last question, usually, Dr. Jordia, is that I love to spread wisdom gems. And so, if you have three wisdom gems that you can give, and now this is for anybody, it can be someone that's looking to start a business, it can be a nursing student that needs to be connected, whatever it is, whatever is on your heart right now in this moment. I would love for you to share three wisdom gems, especially in the time that we're living in, for people to be inspired.
Okay. Find your why. I do believe that each and every one of us are here for a purpose and that we're destined for something. So finding your why, finding something that will keep you grounded is, I would say, number one. When moments choose you, as we're on this podcast, when moment chooses you, embrace those moments. Embrace those opportunities, as scary as they are. If you're called to step up, even in fear, step up, because through that you'll gain clarity as well. So embrace the moment, be concrete on your why and your purpose, and pursue those dreams and those goals. Do it scared if you have to, but just do it. Take action.
I absolutely love all of those, and we could talk on those for another 30 minutes, but I won't because you ended it beautifully. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so excited about what you're doing. Do you have anything currently that you're offering, any classes or anything right now?
Not right now, but they're in the
Okay.
works. So I will
Okay.
definitely be offering classes and providing different resources that especially nurses and anyone actually can use to help build their resilience and improve their overall well-being.
Well, that's great. So, one more, the last word from Jordia, and then we're going to end the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. When the moment chooses you, rise to the occasion. That is all. That is it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And so, for those out there that don't know yet, I have done a thing. And my thing that I have done is I wrote this book about really when the moment chooses you from silence to strength. And it's really my journey, it's our story, honestly. So if you want to be on the podcast, let me know if you have a really story that you want to share, just like a beautiful story that Dr. Jordia shared. Like I never would have known if I didn't hear her. So it's amazing. Now I like, okay, I have a resource for my new grads. And so I'm super excited for our connection, Jordia, and anyone out there. We believe that it is this season for you to go after what's in your heart to do. Don't wait, don't delay, go for it because this moment, I believe, is choosing you. So thank you for listening. I want to thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of When the Moment Chooses You. I'm your host, Coach Charlene, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Each journey we've shared today is a reminder that when the moment chooses you, the possibilities are endless.